A lot of fighting types have received buffs in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This video will be spoiler free of new Pokemon, but will include one or two new moves, items, and abilities. Breloom now has access to Gunk Shot and Close Combat. Both Urshifu Rapid Strike and Single Strike got even stronger as they now get access to Swords Dance. Hisuian Sneezler gets access to U-Turn, something Weavile and older gens could only dream of. Medicham now has Close Combat and finally doesn't have to worry about missing High Jump Kick anymore. And Zamazenta finally gets the move it's been waiting for its entire life in Body Press to make use of its massive defensive stat. Despite this, some of these Pokemon got even more than what I mentioned, so let's take a closer look inside. Alright, so right off the bat, we do have Breloom. Now, I was heartbroken when I found out that Breloom wasn't going to be in Generation 8, one of the many victims of the Pokedex cut. However, Generation 9, my boy is back with some powerful buffs, which is exactly why he's first on this list. Gunk Shot and Close Combat are now in Breloom's move pool. Two really good moves. Gunk Shot is something awesome for Breloom, lets it take out any bulky grasses that would have annoyed it in the past. Stuff like Tangrowth and whatnot, not to mention fairy types like Clefable, completely cooked by Gunk Shot. So I really do like this this addition to Breloom's move pool. It could always use a move to punish fairies and, opposing grass types, usually the defensive Pokemon that give this thing a problem to begin with. Close Combat is also amazing, because in the past, if you wanted to go with a stab move from Breloom, well, you really only have the option of Superpower or Force Palm. Force Palm is only 90 base power with Technician. Superpower is 120, the same as Close Combat, but you drop your attack the next turn, so you can't really stay in. Close Combat is the best of both worlds. You get this super high powered stab, the 120 base power Close Combat. Every fighting type dreams of having CC. So when you don't get CC as a fighting type, it's extremely shameful. Fortunately for Breloom, bro has Technician, Mach Punch, and Bullet Seed, which were two other incredibly broken moves for Breloom back in the day. Like, this thing was always a menace. Nobody liked going up against Technician Breloom. Poison Heal was already annoying with the Spore Focus Punch, so then they nerfed the ability to Spore Grass types as Gen 6 came. Then they put Technician in the game in Gen 5, and the rest was history. Breloom was just, he just came in and he was too powerful. He's awesome. So I'm really excited for Gunk Shot Close Combat. We probably still will see Sash Breloom with Spore and that kind of thing. The reason I put Life Orb as the first set is because I like these moves hitting hard. You know what I mean? A non-Life Orb Mach Punch is pretty weak, but nevertheless, we'll probably still see Sash 3-attack Breloom. Sash Loom is always huge in the beginning of any generation, especially because there's a lot of offensive threats. But yeah, I expect us to see a lot of Close Combat Brelooms, and Gunk Shot, we'll definitely see a couple here and there. So look out for Breloom. I'm very excited for this. So moving on from Breloom, next up we have Urshifu Rapid Strike. So in the Dark Side video, I did talk about Urshifu Single Strike, but Urshifu Rapid Strike is one of the fighting types to definitely benefit from the new generation. So for one, I'm going to be revealing a new item for y'all if you haven't seen it yet. There is a new item in Generation 9 called the Punching Glove. Now, Punching Gloves, the Punching Gloves, sorry, it's not one glove, it's Punching Gloves. Punching Gloves, and also, now that we're done with Breloom, make sure you remember to like the video, folks. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Gonna be posting a lot of Gen 9 content. I'm trying to get this to 2,000 likes by tomorrow, so make sure you like the video, appreciate it. Gonna keep getting this content out. So, Urshifu Rapid Strike, new item for him called the Punching Gloves. The Punching Gloves work exactly the same as protective pads, but for your punching moves, and they boost your punching moves 1.2x damage. So it basically gives a Pokemon the Iron Fist ability while also protecting those said moves from any contact, from rough skin, helmet, barbs, all that stuff. So both Urshifus win big, but I'm going to tell you the one really big kicker of why this item is so busted on these two specifically and why they came up so well. Well, for one, we both know Urshifu got, we all know both Urshifus got access to Swords Dance, right? So they were already two of the biggest threats in the meta last generation. Urshifu Dark type one was so broken he got banned immediately. Now with Swords Dance, they're uncheckable. But the Punching Gloves item, for some reason, Surging Strikes and Wicked Blow are considered punching moves for some reason in the game. I have no idea why Game Freak decided this, but yes, Surging Strikes and Wicked Blow are boosted by said ability, Iron Fist. It's really confusing, but yes, this Punching Gloves item does boost all of the moves that Iron Fist boosts, and because Wicked Blow and Surging Strikes are boosted by Iron Fist. Well, these two are going to get the boost when they run that Punching Gloves item. So when you boost that with SD, you got a super powerful Wicked Blow, you get a super powerful Surging Strikes. You don't got to worry about recoil. Fortunately, Close Combat is not boosted by Iron Fist, so at least that's not boosted. But for Urshifu Rapid Strike, I definitely see Thunder Punch being a very common option. Lets you smoke all water types. Slowbro, for example, this is going to be boosted after all, so I think Thunder Punch is really cool. We might see Ice Punch too, because it hits Dragapult, Dragonite, that kind of thing, so Ice Punch is definitely valid as well. But yeah, we're definitely going to see the Punching Gloves item on both Urshifus, is my prediction. It just turns SD into a super demon. Urshifu Dark type, I basically talked about this when I did the Dark type video yesterday. Go check that out if you haven't already. We're probably just going to see this set. SD, Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch, last move, Close Combat, or Iron Head, depending on your team. Most people will just run Close Combat, but the rare team that does want to lure the fairies in will run Iron Head. You could probably run this with Black Glasses or Life Orb, but Urshifu, I talked about them a lot in the Dark type video yesterday, guys. This is probably going to be one of the first to get banned, in my opinion. I mean, Dark Fighting type offensively is like unbeatable. Then as well as Wicked Blow, always landing in a critical hit. It's boosted by this new Punching Gloves item. Swords Dance Sucker Punch as well. It's just, Urshifu does not seem like a Pokemon to me that's going to stick around in the meta, especially when I found out about this. Black Glasses we're just putting as the Punching Gloves equivalent for the time being, because Punching Gloves would boost both of his Dark type moves. 1.2 actually, because they're punching moves. But anyways, enough talking about punching and all that shit. We're past Urshifu, onto Gallade. So, Gallade actually has a brand new ability that was revealed in Generation 9. It is called Sharpness. Now, this ability is actually the same one that Hisuian Samurott got. Sharpness, it gives you a 1.5x to your blade style moves. So there's it's weird. It's like sharp or blade moves or something like that. Regardless, Sacred Sword is boosted by said ability, and Gallade did get access to it. I gave the shit Leaf Blade too, because Gallade is known to have Leaf Blade, and this is also affected by Sharpness. But Sharpness is a 1.5x boost, meaning Gallade now has a crazy stab move. It turns Sacred Sword into a 135 base power move, right? And then you also get stab on it. You don't have to worry about any defense drops. Why is it Sacred Fire? Sacred Sword. Honestly, this is incredible. I'm really excited to use Gallade. I mean, I know his speed and everything is not ideal, but I do think Gallade in lower tiers will be absolutely crazy with Sacred Sword. And again, you can run Leaf Blade because Sharpness as an ability basically gives you like extra stab moves for all those blade moves. So I'm really excited to run Gallade with this. Sacred Sword turning in, like, because Sacred Sword as a move, 90 base power is very weak, right? You don't see it too much. It just doesn't get the job done. But now with this Sharpness ability, you get the best of both worlds. You get a super duper strong 135 base power nuke attack, stab coming off 125 base attack. That's 383, right? You get that. And then on top of that, you don't have to worry about any type of defense drops from close combat, so you retain Gallade's pretty decent bulk. Fizzdef's not that good, but Spidef is good, so I do have pretty high hopes for Gallade. I think this thing is going to be awesome with Sharpness and Sacred Sword. I feel like choice sets will see a lot of usage, just because Sacred Sword is now so obscenely strong. But we might actually see some, all reliable. We might just see an all reliable set as well. Either way, Gallade, love it. One of my favorite mons. Happy that he got some boosts. Medicham, similar business to Gallade. Medicham got access to close combat, which is great. Now it does not have to risk high jump kick, which is one of the worst moves ever. I mean, high jump kick is a fun move to use, don't get it twisted. Nothing more fun than hitting the 130 base power move with no drawback. 90% of the time, no drawback. But that 10%, you're going to lose the game. So I do think Medicham will see close combat more so on its set. Medicham's always been a great mon, even without, mega evolutions in the future generations. And by future generations, I mean 8 and 9. We'll probably see a Scarf set or a Bandit set in lower tiers. I mean, that's all this thing runs. Close combat is a pretty small buff. It's just nice that it now has an accurate move. And yeah, I mean, we probably will just see close combat as a whole. And now next up, we have the boss, the guy that I somehow forced into OU, Zamazenta. Now, Zamazenta is kind of like two sides of the story here. So Zamazenta's defenses were actually lowered in this generation. Now, I don't actually understand why Game Freak did this. Nobody uses Zamazenta. Smallgun even tested this in OU. It was still too powerful, unfortunately. But this shit, nobody uses it. So when I saw that it got nerfed, I was like, Game Freak, what are you doing? But anyways, he has a -10 attack, -5 defense, and -5 spadef. So that is a little bit annoying for Zamazenta, I'd say, because its attack was already pretty mediocre, but now it's taking a little bit of a drop as well. However, he does get a pretty nice buff in the form of body press. This is something that we've been waiting on literally forever for this Pokemon. Everyone thought that last generation, if Zamazenta got access to body press, then it would be amazing. I mean, this thing's defenses are absolutely nasty. The crown form, on the other hand, has 145 defenses. So can you imagine if this guy got to body press? Like, it would be hitting like anything, not to mention the ability. Like, it's just, this mon would have been sick if it had body press. But for some reason last generation, they robbed it of what would have been its best move. So now that it finally does have access to body press, we're definitely going to see Zamazenta more. That's my prediction. Zamazenta didn't have a chance to do anything last generation. It served no role, no purpose. Nobody could figure out what does he do? Nobody could figure out what he did. And now finally, because it has body press, I think this thing totally has a great purpose. So I'm very excited. So that's the first round of mons. Now we got to go to the future. Hisuian forms. Yes, that's right. Since all the Hisuian forms are in Generation 9, a couple of the fighting type ones here did get some awesome buffs, and I wanted to talk about it. So Decidueye Hisuian form. First off, love this thing's design. Beautiful, beautiful design. Triple arrows is its new move. So this is not correct. It's not a 25 power move or nothing, but I'm gonna tell y'all what it really is. Triple arrows is a 90 base power fighting type, obviously physical move. 50% chance for a -1 defense, and it has a 30% flinch chance. So this is a really crazy move. Has a lot of added effects. 50% chance to lower the opponent's defense by a stage is really, really great, because then you can spam this on a possible bandit or scarf set. Personally, I don't think scarf is going to have a lot of merit. This is extremely slow, so maybe in lower tiers, but I would rather run bandit or SD. Scrappy is an incredible ability. That's actually what this guy's ability has been revealed to be. I'm on the Radical Red server, which is why some of the abilities and stuff are wrong, but just don't pay attention to that. But yeah, I do think Decidueye, we're going to see the Swords Dance set 100%. He only gets Sucker Punch as his priority, but it's a pretty good priority nonetheless. Problem with Decidueye, though, is that grass fighting, you're going to have a lot of competition from Lilligant, who we're going to go over next. And physical grass types, I mean, there was a lot in Gen 7 too with Cart and Rilla. You guys understand how competitive that role is. You need to be very strong. Triple arrows is a cool move, but it's not cutting it with just 90 base power, even with all those added effects. You probably will have to run close combat. Scrappy, like I said, is really, really great too, but Decidueye, I don't know, definitely not going to be an OU mon in my opinion. He does get some other cool stuff. He gets U-turn. So you can run that on a choice set, but we're definitely going to see this guy in lower tiers more than we're going to see him in OU. Moving on to the boss, one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, Lilligant, finally with the Hisuian form. Victory Dance, Close Combat, Leaf Blade, and, folks, a new move has been revealed on Lilligant. Let me tell you right now what bro got. The Ice Spinner. Now, Ice Spinner, for those of you who don't know, is an 80 base power physical ice type move that does not miss, 100% accuracy. It does make contact, so you'll take rough skin or barbs or whatever, but it removes terrain from the field. Now, regardless of if terrain is on the field or not, this is an incredible move for Lilligant. It gets an 80 base power ice move. What more could a grass fighting type Pokemon want? Close Combat and Leaf Blade are beautiful stab moves. Victory Dance, if you guys don't know, is +1 attack, +1 defense, +1 speed. And then Ice Spinner to hit all of the flying types that would resist your dual stab. You literally cannot ask for more. Ice Spinner is the funniest thing they could have given this. So that's why I don't have high hopes for Decidueye as long as this guy's around. Great 105 attack, 105 speed gets the job done. Defenses aren't that good, but it really doesn't matter. I like Wide Lens Hustle personally, just because all your moves being messed up by Hustle, what's the point of Victory Dancing and trying to sweep if you just miss? So I'd rather have Wide Lens turn them all to 88% accuracy. Anyways, Lilligant is the GOAT. I really think that everybody should be using this as soon as the game comes out. I think you'll have a blast. This thing's set. Oh, I cannot wait. This is like a Dragon Dancer to the max. Like this thing is really, really, really cool. Definitely going to be using this on the first day. And the fact that they give the Ice Spinner is just... Game Freak, sometimes Game Freak just be having too much fun. They just be having too much fun at headquarters. And they think, you know what? Let's just break insert mon here. And that's what they did with Lilligant. Next up, we have Sneezler. A lot of people are hyped for this mon. I know I am. This guy's heat. This guy's heat. He really does have a great typing. Fight Poison is always really cool. We had Toxicroak in the past, and he gets a bunch of different moves. So for me, I think I'm going to run Choice Banded Sneezler because we found out that Sneezler actually gets U-turn. Now, ability-wise, this guy gets Poison Touch. So 30% chance of poisoning. I think that in combination with U-Turn is going to be so hard to beat. Sneezler is going to have switch-ins like Landorus T, Hippowdon, Bulky Ground, like that type of shit, right? But when you have a 30% chance to poison and you can U-Turn out, how is anything a counter to you? On top of that, Sneezler has a great speed, great attack. Defenses are pretty shitty, but it really doesn't matter when you have these great stab moves in close combat and Gunk Shot. And then we have Sneezler's signature move, Dire Claw, which is actually in Legends of Arceus. So Dire Claw, if you don't know, this move is an 80 base power poison type move. Not 85, 80 base power poison type move. It has a 50% chance to afflict status. I believe it can burn, paralyze, or freeze. And it's 50% chance. And then there's also the 30% poison touch chance. Point being, Sneezler is going to be extremely good in this meta with Poison Touch plus this move. And its other 3 moves, you know, he's got dual 120 base power stabs, great speed tier, great attack stat, U-Turn as well. This is going to be a top tier meta threat. I have no doubt in my mind. This thing is frail, just like Weavile was, so you do have to worry about that, but typing Fight Poison's real good. This thing also resists Stealth Rocks. And stab close combats and stab Gunk, like, dude, this thing, the only sad part about this mon is it doesn't get knockoff. If it had knockoff, it would be absolutely ridiculous. But it is still walled by Toxapex, so keep that in mind. You know, the GOAT will always come back to deal with this. But very hyped for all the Hisuian mons. As you guys can see, they have such incredible buffs, specifically Lilligant and Sneezler, but still shout out to Decidueye. And with that, let's get on to the last row of mons. Boom. These 6. So you can see we have some guys that I have not even used on my channel before. Vilgax in the back, though, don't forget. Zapdos, Galar, Tailwind. This is all it got. We might see this on some hyper-offensive teams, but Zapdos Galar does not have the bulk that Moltres Galar has. 90, 90, 90 is decent, but you don't invest HP in your Zapdos Galar. You run max speed, max attack. Yeah, on your Moltres, you're able to run HP, right? Because you're running Double Dance, Rest, all that stuff. Your Zapdos needs to run max speed. You need to take advantage of that 100 base speed. That's just how the meta was. And Zapdos, I don't think anything is going to change in the future meta too. This thing is not bulky. It's going to need to get those hits off. Tailwind could have some use on hyper-offensive teams in OU, but I really don't see it getting much usage, to be honest. Definitely going to be more of a VGC strategy, if at all, but I'm not actually, honestly, too sure of Zapdos' use in VGC. Moving on from him, Big Chess. Like Chestnut a lot design-wise, he always did have some pretty great stats. 107 attack, amazing Phys Def, mediocre Spadef and speed, but the HP was always pretty decent too, so I was a fan of Chestnut. Body Press and Close Combat are 2 moves that he got in this generation. I'm very happy about that. Body Press makes use of the good defense. It's like every offensive type, every offensive fighting type wants access to Close Combat, and every defensive fighting type would love access to Body Press. Well, they gave Chestnut both, and he can't really complain. So we'll probably see Body Press on some Spikes, X, Spiky Shield, boring shit like that. But this will be a good set for sure. Body Press is definitely strong. So we're gonna enjoy seeing that on Chestnut, and we're gonna see it a lot. We might see some Swords Dance close combat or Belly Drum close combat, but don't bet on it. That sounds very bad. So with that, let's keep it pushing. So next up, we have Primeape. Now Primeape actually got Stealth Rock. I think that's very funny. A lot of mons got random Stealth Rock, like Hydreigon when I was going over the Dark type video, but Stealth Rock Primeape was actually gonna be pretty cool. Now, Primeape does have access to Defiant as its hidden ability, so I do think that this could have some merit, right? You set up the Stealth Rocks, and then, damn, this guy has 278 attack maxed. Oh, okay, I was gonna say something's not adding up. Stealth Rock with Defiant is cool because you can set up rocks, and if something tries to defog on you, well, now you're +2 attack, and you can get rocks up again, or you scare them out. So it kind of can have some mind games. I think this can be a really cool move on Primeape in general. You can even run Choice Band or Choice Scarf with like your classic close combat U-turn. This should get knockoff. It doesn't even get knockoff. What the fuck? This thing is garbage. Gunk Shot. But yeah, Stealth Rock will definitely be used. I think it's a cool. I mean, you can never go wrong with Stealth Rock, right? If you don't know what to click with your Pokemon, click Stealth Rock. Even if you fucked up, you didn't even really fuck up, because Stealth Rock will always do something for you later down the line. That's why Stealth Rock is one of the best moves, if not the best move in the game. But yeah, moving on from Primeape, lower tier Demon. RU is in danger when this guy steps in. Actually, more like PU. Toxicroak. Toxicroak, Game Freak finally felt bad for giving this guy Cross Chop for 8 generations. No one knows why this thing only ever had access to Cross Chop. Makes no sense. You have to run Drain Punch or Low Kick. Finally, they gave him a real stab, close combat. He's been waiting forever for this, Game Freak. I don't know why you made him wait this long. Extremely disrespectful. But unfortunately, he did have to wait this long. Though, having close combat now is cool. Just turns Croak into a stronger guy, that's all. Yeah. Sneezler's better, but we'll see Croak in lower tiers. It'll have some niche because Sneezler's banned from those lower tiers. Hariyama gets access to Drain Punch, big dude. We'll see him going crazy in PU with Drain Punch to recover HP. Not really much else to say. And then finally, the GOAT, Vilgax. Now, the reason I brought up Vilgax, you might be thinking, yes, what buffs did the GOAT get? I can't wait to hear about Buzzwole. Unfortunately, I'm running this horribly bootleg set, Ice Punch, Close Combat, Leech Life, Protect. The reason being is that Buzzwole took some heavy nerfs. He lost Roost and he lost Toxic. I think these are really, really, really tough issues for Buzzwole to recover from. Not having Roost means that all this amazing HP and defense is basically for nothing. Protect Leftovers is the best way I figured you can kind of stick around, but I don't know. I think Vilgax has really taken a tough hit. I keep calling him Vilgax instead of Buzzwole. I feel like Buzzwole's taken a really tough hit with the inability to Roost. It's just going to get worn down way too quickly. Don't get it twisted. Buzzwole is still going to take on a bunch of physical threats. I mean, look at this video, for example. This is the fighting type video. Fighting type's still getting cooked by Buzzwole. Look at the mons I went over here. Well, all these guys are ass, but all of these guys, I mean, these two are psychic, but regardless, Buzzwole would be able to deal with these two guys. Plus 2, he's still able to live, even if it does a lot. Problem is, though, not being able to Roost, but, you know, those nerfs hurt. I just had to bring it up because Buzzwole, one of my favorite Pokemon ever, and those nerfs are definitely going to change how he's used in the, you know, Gen 9, but still be decent, probably as a choiced Pokemon. We're probably going to see more offensive sets, sort of like what I said with Tornadus T losing some of its support moves, or Hydreigon losing Roost, or whatever the case is. When Pokemon lose support moves, they're basically forced to go in an offensive role. That way they keep on making progress, because the whole point of a Pokemon battle is make more progress than your opponent. If your Mon can't make progress as a defensive or offensive Pokemon, you're screwed. You're down a Mon. So we're probably going to see more offensive Buzzwoles. But that basically concludes my list, guys. If I had to pick Mons I'm most excited to use, definitely Breloom, Gallade, Rapid Strike Urshifu. I don't care about the single strike one because I'm almost positive it's getting banned really quickly. And then I cannot wait to use Lilligant, Hisuian, and Sneezler like I was saying earlier. So hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a big like if you did. Let me know in the comments below what you think, if I missed anything, if y'all are excited for the game tomorrow. I know I am. Gonna be posting Megas to the Top later and streaming. Peace. Enjoy.